This is a 190 Q&A practice test. Plaintiff Attorney Mr. Wright, capital W-R-I-G-H-T. Defense Attorney Mr. Day, capital D-A-Y-E. We'll start with Defense Attorney. Ready? Here we go. That's at least the theory, right? Yes, and then the most reliable and third or final means of training or proving a human remains dog would be to use actual human remains of some kind, right? Yes, now these might be obtained lawfully from a coroner's office. All of our sources are obtained lawfully, right? And that's why I said that. I understand you do this lawfully, and that's off the table. Okay, so when I say obtaining human remains, it's understood you are doing this lawfully. Yes, fair enough, but a coroner's office might be one source. Yes, hospitals might be another source, not for us, but I'm sure you could for other people in this business. Yes, okay, but what is obtained then is some small quantity of some sort of human remain, not a corpse or a cadaver. That's right. The dog then is alerting to or is trained to recognize the package, if you will, of gases and scents that are released in the decomposition or the breaking down of this sort of human tissue. Yes, if we were chemists, we would be talking about esters and alchemies as the source of these odors. Okay, is that you are okay? I'm not a chemist. Okay, I mean, is that something you heard? Yes, or ever been taught? Yes. Okay, I couldn't begin to tell you which esters and which alchemies, but this is the chemist's name for the molecular structure of these gases that are given off. Okay, yes. One of the gases that decomposing human tissue gives off actually is very commonly understood, and that's methane. Yes, but that's only one of the gases, right? Right. So one of the challenges, if you are going to work a dog in a landfill, for example, is to train him not to hit only on methane, right? Right, because landfills give off all kinds of methane. Yes, true. That's because any sort of living tissue is either the animal or plant kingdom as it decomposes will release methane gas. Yes, you are not interested in that per se. You are interested in methane only to the extent that that is part of the cocktail of odors and gases that decomposing human tissue gives off. That's true. But a landfill is a challenging site. Yes, very. For a human remains dog for this reason, yes. Likewise, a salvage yard. Have you ever worked a salvage yard before? Not this large a salvage yard, no. But you have been to that type of scene, yes, okay. And one thing you know that you have in salvage yards is some number of cars, yes. Some of those cars are just old and they went kaput and stopped running and somebody towed them off to the salvage yard, yes. But some of them, though, were wrecked or ruined in car accidents. Yes, car accidents unfortunately sometimes cause human beings to bleed. Yes, sometimes profusely bleed. Yes, when the car is towed off after the wreck, ordinarily no one has made any effort to clean up the blood or worse of the human remains in that wrecked car. Objection overruled. That's true. A salvage yard like one this size with over 4,000 wrecked cars is a challenging environment for a dog. Yes. You had here, as a matter of fact, a number of alerts from Spot to cars in the salvage yard. Yes, we did. Most of those, I'm just going to set aside the sob that you described. Most of those human beings later decided didn't have any relevance to the investigation, right? That would be up to the agents, right? I mean, your job was simply to say Spot is barking. He is alerting on the trunk of this car or the back seat of this other car. That's right. The agents take it from there, yes. But it would not surprise you to learn that agents then may have decided there is another source of human remains here. And it means nothing. Yes, this dog Spot never was scented, if you will, for Jan Rice. No, you don't scent human remains detection dogs, right? And this scent is normally a noun, not a verb, as we just used it. Let's explain that a little bit. By scenting a dog, what that means is your special field is if we have a search and rescue dog, a bloodhound typically, but not always. It could be a beagle or something, right? Yes. What we would do is give an article of clothing, a shoe, a shirt, something that's known to belong to the missing person. Yes, let the dog smell that or get the scent of that item of clothing, right? Yes, and then ask the dog on or leash it off whether he can find the scent, that's right, and then to follow the scent, yes. So it's not, so for those dogs, it's not so much an alert process as it is being trained to the process of leading a handler along the path of the scent. If the scent is detected, yes. Spot was not given Jan Rice's scent, no, because you don't do that with the human remains dog, that's right. Spot then, to the extent he was alerting on the sob, could not tell you whether he was smelling the remains of Jan Rice, that's right. He could not tell you whose remains obviously he might have been smelling, that's right. He could not tell you whether it was human bodily fluid or human tissue that he was smelling, that's right. He could not tell you whether the person who left the body tissue or the bodily fluid was alive or dead, that's right. What he could tell you was that someone has left some sort of human remains here, that's right. In the example I gave of my cutting my hand and bleeding all over the floor, presumably I could be rendered first aid, or I could put a little bandage on or something, and I would go on just fine, that's right. Some people might not be happy that I'm going on just fine, but I would go on just fine, right, but nonetheless Spot would alert on human remains on the floor, yes. So the label of a cadaver dog is one that you rightly tend to shy away from a little bit and prefer human remains detection dog. I prefer because sometimes we're looking for evidence, not corpses exactly. In any event, unless you find a corpse, there is no way to know that an alert means a corpse. You would normally look for what source the dog was hitting, whether it was a corpse or material, tissue or fluid, yes. And by fluid, let's get specific about that. Menstrual blood, yes. Semen, yes. How about saliva? Yes. By tissue, let's get a little more specific. Skin, yes. The only thing I guess I want to say is in a way you seem to cross over into live scent. You know, I'm sloughing skin off, right? My cadaver dog isn't going to hit on that. There has to be a piece of a finger, a pool of blood. So that's like with saliva. If somebody talks and spits saliva, my dog isn't going to hit on it. Now, if there was a large quantity of saliva that was allowed to sit long enough, I may or may not get a hit. I haven't actually tested that, but you're right, yes, yeah. And it's a very good point. So there is a volume issue here. Yeah, you can't just live scent would be skin sloughing off. That would be something that a bloodhound would be much more interested in than a cadaver dog. Or even if we don't think of it as live, I mean, sloughed off skin cells aren't dead. Plus, they stop. There's only a lifespan on that. If you would have, that's why a tracking dog needs to be brought on scene. They like to say within 72 hours because at some point that stops being an effective source for that dog. But if there is an actual tooth or a finger or a pool of blood, that then is going to give off a source, a scent that the dog will hit on and last much longer. Yes, maybe, yes. Right down to the example we started with. You know, the Native American who died 1,000 years ago, right? But what I guess the point is, again, as you said, a tooth, it could be bone material, it could be skin. If in sufficient quantity, could be muscle tissue, right? That's right. The dog will alert to all of these things regardless of whether the person who left it is alive or dead. That's true. Did I understand you that? And we're probably done with Exhibit 86. I don't know. Let's find out if we need another photo. You were shown on direct examination a photo that had a trailer. Yes. All right, the word list. Spot, capital S-P-O-T. Sob, capital S-A-A-B. Jan Rice, capital J-A-N. New word, capital R-I-C-E. And that is it for the word list. And that will conclude our 190 Q&A practice test.